Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. We got a jam-packed call here, so we'll go ahead and get started. So last week's 5-minute moneymaker. Before you do any more marketing, it's essential that you spend time coming up with a unique selling proposition or elevator speech. Obviously, we give you one on the website. So under the getting started, there's a portion there that's actually our elevator speech. So that's what we recommend. And then you can actually use it in all sorts of different places we talked about here. 5Q tape breakdown is the easiest problem you'll ever fix. Please take a listen and make this to never make this simple mistake. So make sure you're doing this. This is a great way, and it actually ties into our call today because we're going to talk about the best way to get the most punch out of your 15-minute drills. So, and then I did have we've covered just a brief review on the marketing. That'll take 30 seconds, but we've had a lot of guys say, when should I start stage one? Stage one is the 4 different lead services we have, either starting 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of them. Here's the way I look at it. If you know nothing of the 5Q system, with the lead system, you're still going to make a profit, though not as much as you'd want. So even if you don't know the 5Q system, there are lots of guys out there that do okay with leads. So you should start stage one right away. Now, if you do the 21 lights with the leads, you'll close double what you would normally close. You'd close more than you would if you didn't know the 5Q system, just simply because you show how much you know. Because you normally would, because it shows that you're different, and it shows that you care before you ask for the business. Because in our business, we have a kind of a catch-22. They don't trust us they won't buy from us till they trust us. And we can't show they can trust us till they buy from us. So they're not going to buy from us till we can show that until they know they can trust us. But we can't show they can trust us until they buy from us. So the 21 light will take care of that. So you will see a doubling of your closing. But when you get just good at the full 21, you'll close half, 50% of the people you get in front of. And then when you master the full 21, you'll close 90% of the tire kickers, plate lickers, do-it-yourselfers, people who love their advisors for all their money. Again, why, guys? Why will we close when you have fully mastered the 21-point checklist? Why will we close 90% of the people that everybody looks at as, oh, those people aren't gettable? We get 90% of all other advisors say those people aren't gettable. Why do we get 90%? So let's see some answers there. Not about being trustworthy. Not about showing how much we care. Come on, guys. Dave's got it. I think Jerry's answering it correctly. Motive, Bonnie, that's right. Motive. That's right, Kyle. What they do is they're going to tell us minimum 2 times per minute. So we're looking for at least a minimum of 2 open-ended questions per minute. Like I said, that's what I did when I made my million. All the guys who have had make a million with 5Q, they've all asked about 2 open-ended questions per minute. Today, I ask 5, 6 questions, open-ended questions per minute. But back then, when I made my million, and all the other guys that have made a million have asked at least 2 open-ended questions per minute. So if they tell us in their own words, twice per minute, sometimes in little ways, sometimes in medium-sized ways, and sometimes in big ways, that they can't stand their current situation, they can't stand their current advisor, what will they do at the end of that? Even if they love their advisor when they began the meeting, even if they're just tire kickers, even if they're just plate lickers, if they tell you, if you do 2 times 90 is what, 180, 2 times 2 hours is 240. So somewhere between 180 and 240 times that they don't like their situation and they think their guy's taking advantage of them and disrespecting them, what will they do? Even if they're tire kickers, even if they're plate lickers, even if they love their advisor right now. Yeah, they move all the money. Make sense? So that was a long answer to a short question. When can you start the stage one? I'd start it right away. That's when I'd start it. And I'd keep going, doing it all the way through even once I master it. So today we want a little hint on how to get people to answer our emails. How do we break through, when we get ghosted and people quit answering our emails, what's the way to get them to start answering us again? So I actually first of all, don't be afraid of being different. Because if you just send us the classic email, what are they going to do? Hey, I haven't heard from you, and we talked about a lot of things, like to help you out, blah, blah, blah. What are they going to do with that? If they've ghosted you and you send that kind of an email, what's going to happen? That's right, they're going to delete it, they're going to erase it, Robert. So you got to be crazy. You got to be different. or they're just going to erase it. You got to get them to stop. I don't know how many of you saw this over the weekend, but man goes to Disney World looking for a kidney and he finds one. So on the back of his shirt, he had in need of kidney, O positive, call this number. A bunch of people took a picture of that and they put it on their Facebook and they put it on Twitter and it went out 90,000 times. And guess what happened, guys? Now, who would have thought of doing this, that you'd have any luck? But is this the same as what everybody does, or is this different what everybody does that needs a kidney? Now, I'm sure a lot of people will start doing it now that they've that he's had success. But he was the first one out there, and it was different, so it worked for him. So let's see. There was a article was written about 9 funny, unconventional, highly effective sales email templates real salespeople use. So this is a way to get people back in the door talking to you again. So they have 7. The funny sales pitch. They found the book, Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be More Persuasive. They found business people who sent funny, inoffensive guys, non-political, non-religious, inoffensive cartoons to their negotiation partners before negotiating, generated higher levels of trust and 15% larger profits. So that's one way you could do it, because if they see a comic, what are people going to do? If they see a comic, what will people do? Especially if it's only if it's a 3 panel, they're going to read it. At least you've stopped them from deleting your email, and then you just tie it to that a little bit. Another example is we're all set. If they say we're all set, we have no thanks. And then again, do a meme. How many memes are available on the internet, guys? Tie a meme that relates to what they're doing, and put it in the email. Because when people see videos, when people see pictures, guess what? It stops them from deleting your email. The witty email, to immediately differentiate yourself from other salespeople, make the buyer laugh. Send them a little tongue-in-cheek email that as a follow-up to the compelling event. What I used to do with this is I didn't send emails. When people ghosted me, I would send a quarter. Even though there's no pay phones out there anymore, I would send a quarter on a card and say, hey, haven't been able to get a hold of you. I'm wondering if your phone has been disconnected. Here's a quarter. Call me from the local phone booth. And people would, they would say, ha, ha. They would call up and say, ha, 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 sorry, I haven't been talking to you, blah, blah, blah. Why would they do that? If they haven't talked to me and ghosted me, why would I sent that? Did they finally pick up the phone and call? Because they knew they were being what? What they know they were being when I sent a card like that? Yeah, rude. And then another one is clever email. So this one is saying, hey, saw you were involved with blah, blah, blah organization. I'm curious if you're going to be at the conference. We'd love to meet up with your team. I know one guy on the team would especially love to meet with you. So it just shows this guy bored as heck, just throwing rocks into the. So just something funny. And guys, how much stuff is out there that we can use? Heck, why don't you put all that wasted time you spend on perusing YouTube and memes and Instagram and everything else to positive use? And when you find something, what should you do with it? When you find something that makes you chuckle, what should you do with it? What should you do with it? When you find something, save it someplace, right? Save it, archive it, so you can go back and grab it when you need it for something like this. The no BS email, and that's just being straight with them. Some of us do that, so that's not a huge new idea. Here's a funny one. We just haven't been able to reschedule our meeting. It's a reminding of a lot of Rachel stood up to Ross from prom night. Again, I don't think that's going to work for a lot of guys, but guys, are there a lot of sports pictures we could put here? Are there a lot of sports pictures that we could put here that would be kind of the same type of thing? Like the team that just lost, or the person in the locker room, or is there like if you've ever seen the picture of who's the guy in Matrix, Keanu Reeves, sitting there eating lunch by himself on the park bench. There's lots of things like that you can do to get people to give them a chuckle. Hilarious email to prospect who ghosted. Hello, I must have called 1,000 times. So relating to a song that is just an earworm type song that most people are likely to know. The funny Friday email. I bet the subject line made you think it's Friday. Of Rebecca Black. Again, they're referring to probably millennial stuff. But are there stuff that we could use? Absolutely there is. So are these the type of emails we generally send to clients? Yes or no? Are these the type of emails any advisor sends to clients? No. So it's a way to what? Grab their attention. Make sense? So be different. And I know that a lot of guys that I work with, they're so afraid, especially when I'm talking or doing a tape review. They sound so serious and they sound robotic and they sound monotone. It's like they don't want to show that they're anything but professional. Guys, should we be worried? How do you show that you're professional? How do you show that you're professional? By your tone, by your dress, how do you show that you're professional? Yeah, one way is right upside down, being prepared. Yeah, it's how you act. It's what the information that you have. It's to help you provide. That's what shows that you're professional. So lighten up a bit. Lighten up a bit. When you hear me do my scripts, where is my tone? Is my tone flat or is it all over the place, from high to low to slow to fast to whiny to confident? It's all over the place. It's extremes. That's right, Raymond. It's extreme. And why do I do that? Do people say, "Oh, geez, Mike's not professional"? No, they enjoy talking to me because it's more. That's right. It engages them, right, Raymond? It engages them. So when it comes to email, we're obviously not talking to them, but you got to engage them somehow. So would you say these emails are a little bit more to the extreme side? Yes. But what do you have to lose if they've ghosted you? Nothing. Does that make sense? So it's just a little hint. So now we're going to talk about getting better at the most important thing that we have with the 20-point checklist. And is it the scripts or is it the GOTS? Everybody answer this. Is it scripts or GOTS that's the most important thing? Everybody's getting it. It's GOTS, getting on their side. Because here's the thing. If you're good at GOTS, you're a master conversationalist. Everybody loves you. They can't wait to talk to you again because you make them feel warm and fuzzy. So GOTS makes sure that you sell everybody. GOTS will make sure you sell everybody. The problem with GOTS, though, is you don't know when you're going to sell them. It could be next week. It could be next month, or it could be next year. They'll always keep you in their life. They'll always pick up the phone. They'll always talk to you. But GOTS, we don't know when they're going to close. We just know they're going to close. So what the scripts do is it just speeds up the process to a 3-meeting process. But doing the scripts alone, you'll close more business, but you won't close 90% of tire kickers, plate lickers, and people who love their advisors. Because the 21-point checklist scripts, they are designed to speed the process up. But without GOTS, it can be a little interrogative. It can be a little bit like you're beating them about the head and shoulders with a rubber hose and have a bright light in their face. So you gotta the 20-point checklist scripts. You gotta have the GOTS as well. Or they could, at halfway through the meeting, say, "What's your point? What are you driving at? Why do you keep asking me all these questions?" See, the GOTS prevents that from happening. The GOTS allows us to use the scripts. Does that make sense? So how do we get better at the GOTS? How do we become a master at the GOTS? Don't say practice. What kind of practice? What do we use? Okay, Wade's got it. How do we get... Geez, I hope Wade's not the only person. Okay, Dave's got it. Everybody's getting it. Okay, it's right. The 15-minute drill. The 15-minute drill. But I find a lot of guys aren't doing that right. But we're going to talk about, first of all, before we talk about the 15-minute drill, I want to talk about why this is so important. When they've done a lot of research, did they find that soft skills or hard skills were more important when it came to selling people? So soft skills means things that make people feel more comfortable around you. Hard skills means asking for the close and being master of the script. Which one is... Everybody's getting it. Soft skills is more important. And when they looked at what kind of soft skills do you need to be an awesome salesperson, so they did again, I don't know what university it was, but a university did interviewed 300 different top salespeople to find out what soft skills they need to be good at. And the first thing they found out is that first of all, you have to believe in yourself and what you're doing. You have to believe in yourself in what you're doing. And I've talked to a few guys. If there are things in the 21-point checklist that you don't believe, you should what? Change it, skip it, or call Jeff or myself? Yeah, call Jeff or myself. Yeah, everybody's saying call Jeff. Yeah, I would say call Jeff, because I'm going to say just do it the friggin' way I showed you how to do it, and believe me, it's true. Jeff will take the time to help you work through those things. So Jeff, can you just jump in there a second and make people feel comfortable that you would do that if they're not comfortable with some part of the script?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Usually it's easy. Usually it's just a matter of you guys have some questions or some reservations. So I would say 90% of the people easily get comfortable with it. So no, it's no problem at all.
Yeah, and most people do go to Jeff simply because I'm going to say I'm impatient. So I'm like, dude, it's worked 60,000 times. If it didn't, we have very, very smart guys that have been on the system, and if it wasn't true, guess what those smart guys would have done a long time ago, guys? If there were any with the turnover, with the interest rates, with the correlation, if those things weren't true, guess what? Over 18 years, because we've been using these same scripts, I've been using it for 20 years, guys have been using it for 18 years. If these things weren't provable and weren't true, what would these top producers and very smart people have done? Yeah. My second skill was to be coachable. All of the salespeople said that they learned by being coachable. They found a mentor, and then guess what they did when they found a mentor? They didn't disagree with the mentor. They listened to them, and they used the skills that they had. And guess who said this? Who said this quote? My best skill was that I was coachable. I was a sponge and aggressive to learn. Dudes, we're talking about one of the, in his particular field, he is the best, if not, or at least one of the top 3 players ever to play the game of basketball. And we know that this is true. How do we know this is true of Michael Jordan? How good was Michael Jordan in high school? Good or not, or average? Yeah, average or less than average. And so he went from less than or average to a phenom. Why? Because he was coachable. He listened to what his coaches told him. Empathy, having empathy. So how does the 5Q system want you to have empathy? Yeah. So anytime they say something we don't agree with, what's the first thing we do? We talked about this last week with objections, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. So when they have say something we don't like, what's the first thing we do? We get on their side. We just don't agree with them. We actually start telling them why what they said was right. Kind of what right, or 150% right? Kind of right or 150% right? 150%. That's empathy. Having an effective communication cycle that you listen, feedback, listen, feedback, listen, feedback. That's a skill. And again, what tool do we use that gives us this? The open-ended question. The open-ended question makes us effective communicators because we're not telling them. We're asking them questions and listening to what they say, and based on that feedback, we ask them another question. Listen to what they say. Based on that question, ask them another question. So that this is what we do. And be humble. Now, many of you would think, and Missy's on vacation, so I was actually going to ask her this, but we'll see what Jeff says on this. Many of you would think I'm an arrogant prick, and a lot of, and to a large degree, that's right. But Jeff, how quickly do I really fall on the sword if I'm wrong? And how quickly do I give other people credit for things that that they've come up with?
I'd say you do it well in a meeting. I don't know. You're good. I mean, you're okay. I wouldn't say you're great, but in a meeting, you're great. In real life, you're okay.
Jesus, I wish I would have asked Missy that question. So there's certain things that I know, and I'm going to be very, very to the point on that. If there's something that I don't know, I am the first person to say I don't know that. And if I'm wrong, I usually bite at somebody but within 5 minutes, guess what I do? I circle back. So you got to be humble. So humble is what? Humble is the ability to say that you're what? That you're what? Wrong. Exactly. It's the ability to say that you're wrong. So there's certain things I've been doing for 18 years. So how humble am I going to be about that? Not very. Not very. And for example, the eye-to-eye marketing program, Tom Z brought to us about a year ago, and I told him, Tom, one-on-ones do not work. One-on-ones don't work. For 17 years, I've said one-on-ones don't work. They don't work. They don't work. It's stupid. Why are you doing it? It's not going to work. And when Tom finally convinced me to try it and it worked, I don't know if any of you guys recall this, but guess what I said on that the call when we rolled out the eye-to-eye? That I'm a genius or that I was an idiot? If any of you remember. I admitted that I was an idiot, and I listened to Tom. Yeah, Till knows, and he wasn't even on that call. I said I was an idiot. For 17 years, I've been saying this doesn't work, and thank you, Tom, for telling me that it does work. And so you got to be humble about things that you don't know. So when it comes to marketing, I'm extremely humble because nobody knows why marketing works. But why our meeting system works? Hey, you know what? That's been tested for 20 years. So of course, I'm not going to be humble about that. Being good at EQ versus IQ, which better, EQ or IQ? EQ. EQ beats the crap out of IQ. We all know extremely smart people who make how much a year? Diddly do. And on the other end, we know complete idiots across town, our competition, who are idiots, but how much do they make? A ton, because people like them. So it's not fair, but that's what it is. So your EQ, that has to be, we have to be working on that continually. So we want to get better every day. That's another thing. The soft skill is the willingness to get better every day. And we have the ability to do that with our system, with our tools. So this is how much physicians make. Orthopedics make $421 on average nationwide, all the way down to pediatrics making $189 on average. So the reason I'm showing you this, because think about this. These physicians, how much time did they spend in school? How many years? Yeah, eight in they go to college, then they do another 4, and then they do another 4 as a resident. So it's 8 to 12 years. And how much money did they spend? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not $100K, more like $300,000-$400,000. So the reason I bring that up is this is how much they make. Costs them a ton of money, a ton of time, but you can make the same amount that they're making. You can make more than an orthopedic very, very easily if you do the 15-minute drill. Yeah, it's, okay, Frank, you forgot the extra. So if you do the 15-minute drill, you can within 1 year be making as much as a surgeon, a brain surgeon. Okay, so you got to do the 15-minute drill. So where you find the 15-minute drill is under the Getting Started toolbox, 15-minute drill. And this is what the front page looks like. So I want to go through exactly how you do it, because a lot of guys, even guys that we've been doing this for a year, are doing it not the most effective way. So I listen to a tape with me talking to another human being, preferably doing a 21-point checklist. If that's not the case, then at least the first meeting, or any meeting where I'm talking to a client. Again, the best one would be a 21-point checklist because we're asking a lot of open-ended questions. But whatever, if I don't have one of those, any other meeting will do. And then what I do is I listen to it until I find something wrong, something that I could have done better. Now, here's the funny thing. I still do 15-minute drills. After 20 years, I still do 15-minute drills every single day. Why? Because my record of listening to a tape of me before I make a mistake is 3.5 minutes. That's my record. 3.5 minutes, even after doing this. Because this drill is helping us work on things that we do not do naturally. It's having us work against our nature. We like to tell, sell, preach, teach. We like to talk. We don't like to listen. We want people to know what we have to say, not what they have to say. So we do this because it keeps, that's right, Robert, it keeps our axe sharp. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to my recording. As soon as I find something that I could do better, I'm going to stop the tape. And I'm going to figure out what could I have done better at that point. Then I'm going to reverse the tape to hear what the client said or what I said that triggered that opportunity to enhance what I could have done better. I have to reverse it 4 or 5 or 10 seconds or whatever so I can hear that trigger, what triggered me, before I listen. So I'm doing 2 things here. Every single time I'm going to reverse the tape and listen to what triggered it. Then I'm going to stop the tape, and then I'm going to say what I should have said. Now, when I'm saying what I should have said, should I do it the exact same way every single time, or should I be looking for different ways to accomplish the same thing? Yeah, different ways. So let's say that I find that I'm asking a closed-ended question. So the closed-ended question is this: I say, so do you see why the market's going to go up? And the client says yes. And then I stop the tape and say, shoot, that was a closed-ended question. That's not right. So how I could have asked that is, why would the market go up? So I'm going to reverse the tape, listen to myself say, so you see why the market goes up? And the client says yes. Then I stop the tape and I say, why would the market go up? And then I reverse the tape, listen to myself say, do you see why the market's going to go up? And the client says yes. I stop the tape and say, how do we know if the market's going to go up? Then I reverse the tape, listen to myself say, do you see why the market's going to go up? And the client says yes. And I say, where would we go to look, or where would we look to see if the market was going to go up? And so I keep asking the same, an open-ended question different ways to get that muscle stronger. So I'm working on 2 different skills here. One is reading the offense and one is tackling. So if you had a choice between, you were a coach and you had to choose between a player that was an awesome tackler but couldn't read the offense, or a player that was okay tackler that could read the offense, which would you play? Which one? Yeah, the one that could read. Because if you're the best tackler in the world but you're on the wrong side of the field all the time, that's not going to help you. So what we're doing here by reversing the tape and listening to me say, do you see why the market's going up and why the market would go up? And the client says yes. That's learning to read the offense. So that when I'm in a real meeting and I hear the client say yes, an alarm bell goes off in my head saying, wait, yes is the wrong answer. Yes is a bad answer. Yes means I asked a closed-ended question. It means that when I'm in a meeting, I catch myself, because the alarm bells will go off. It's like reading the offense. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So I have to reverse the tape so I can hear that thing that triggered the thing I want to get better at. If all I do is say the thing that I want to get better at over and over and over and over again, I'm getting good at tackling, but I'm not getting good at reading the offense. I have to go back and listen to that thing I did wrong over and over and over again, and then stop the tape and then practice the tackle. I'll try that new skill that I wanted to do better. Does that make sense? Is anybody confused? Can you just do what you're supposed to do? Or, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, what I was going to say is there's 2 things you have to be good at in a meeting. You have to be good at saying the right thing, and you have to be good at listening. And you have to practice both. And when I hear these 15-minute drills that people send in, sometimes I hear them practicing saying the right thing, but they're not practicing listening. And so you have to practice listening. That's why you have to listen to it. You can't just listen to it once and think, this is what I should have said. Got it. And move on. You probably did get it right with what you should have said, but you're not practicing listening. That just means that the next time you hear that exact same thing, you probably get it right. But if you don't hear that exact same thing, but another version of it, you won't even realize it. I can't tell you the number of times I listen to a tape and the meeting goes a little sideways and the guy's like, dang it, I knew what to say there. I just didn't say it. It's because you didn't even hear it. So we got to practice listening.
That's right. And so when you practice that listening, like Jeff is saying, you'll hear it loud and clear. It's like when somebody says yes to me, when I'm talking to somebody and they say yes, a little bell goes off in my head saying, shoot. That's my clue. I asked a closed-ended question. I don't know what I just said, but I know that I asked a closed-ended question because the client said yes. So that I'm listening for that yes, and I know I've done something wrong if the client says yes. And like Jeff said, for 15 minutes, what if I fix that thing in 5 minutes? Should I go on to the next thing, guys? So if I fix that thing in 5 minutes, should I go and work on another skill during that 15 minutes? Everybody's getting it right. No, you keep working it over and over and over, just like when I'm a great tackler. So when I come into fall training camp, we line up by the tackling dummy, and I just smash it. Perfect tackle. Does the coach say, oh, you've obviously kept your skills over the summer. You can go ahead and hit the showers. Now, what's he say? There's the line. Go do what? Get in line again. So you keep doing the same one over and over and over for 15 minutes. So just to, again, people get confused here too. So if I say I ask them a question, why would we know the market's going up? And they say, well, because, well, let me see. What if instead I said, what do we think the market would do? And they say, I think the market's going to go up. An agreement would be exactly, or you're right, or you got it. Now, a parrot back, this is where some guys start to get a little confused. If they say tell me if this is a parrot back, okay? They say, the client says, I think the market's going to go up. And I say, yeah, I think the market's going to go up because if you think about it, the wins at our sales, the taxes have just been lowered. So when you say the market's going to go up, that's exactly right. Is that a parrot? Yes or no? So I'm getting lots of right answers and a few wrong answers. That's good. That is not a parrot. That's a paraphrase. If I paraphrase and then I start to tell them why their answer is right, if I said their answer is 100% right, or I said, well, their answer is not quite right here, let me help you give a better answer. I'm saying, let me help you give a better answer. And if you guys have ever experienced this, where somebody's asked you something and you give them the answer, and then they go on and on and on explaining your answer, and you think, dude, I just said that. Is that a good thing if they're thinking that, or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. So parrot means parrot. When I say Polly wants a cracker, the parrot says Polly wants a cracker. The parrot doesn't, when I say Polly wants a cracker, the parrot doesn't say, yeah, the cracker would be good, maybe like a Ritz. Is that what the parrot says? No. The parrot repeats exactly back. So that's parroting. And then there's empower, which means you tell the client they're above average. You tell the client they're above average. So I'm going to empower, and I want you to tell me whether I'm doing a good job of it or a bad job of it. So let's say they said the market was going to go up. So I say, oh, you nailed it. I mean, I wish all my clients would understand that because the market is going to go up. Because, you know, if you look at it, the wind is at our sails right now. So why wouldn't the market go up? So you said the market, that's awesome that you would recognize that, because we've got right now the lowering of the taxes. We've got profits on the way up. We've got consumer confidence up. So when you say the market's going to go up, you hit it right on the head. Great job. I wish everybody's as smart as you. Did I do a good job there or a bad job? Bad. That's right, bad. Because I was doing what there? Telling them they were above average or explaining why their answer was right? I was improving their answer, right. Now, if I want to do a great job of empowering, telling them they're above average, here's what I would say. I'd say, they say the market's going to go up. I say, wow, that's amazing that you would recognize that, because I talk to probably 30 people a month, and fewer than 2 or 3 would get that answer right. So I don't know if you've got education in this. I don't know if you've been trained in this, or maybe you just have great insight, but you nailed it. I should have you talk to, a lot of advisors don't even know that. I should have you talk to some of my colleagues. So the fact that you picked that up is amazing. And I don't know if you've given yourself credit. That's an amazing thing to understand, because you know, some people can see the forest for the trees, can't see the forest for the trees. You see the forest and the trees. So I don't know how you were able to do that, but wow, that's impressive. I love people like you, because you're able to I'm able to go into deeper concepts because you get it. I'm able to give you more information because you can actually internalize it. So that's fantastic. Now, was that a good job of empowering? Because it was all about who? Them. Did I even bring up the fact that the market was going up? Could I have used that, whether they said the market was going up or whether the market was going down, or whether they said the sun was going to rise in the morning? Or I could have used that for what? Because it's not about the topic, it's about them. Does that make sense? And if you're looking for how you do that, if you go to the website and you go to the library and the archive, well, let me just go there so you can find out how to an example of that. So I'll go here and go to group, log in, and go down to library, archive library, of audio video school, and then go down to 21-point checklist. Here's an example of empowering. It's a minute and 51 seconds long. It's an example of empowering. Now, where do we use empowering? We use empowering as early in the meeting as possible so that we put some positive energy in the bank, knowing we're probably going to make a mistake sooner or later. So we want to put some positive energy in the bank. A second thing, empowering is a fantastic way that if I've corrected them, if I haven't been gotching them and they feel like they're being interrogated, if I'm making a mistake where they're getting irritated or restless or whatever, I'm going to use empowering because it gets them right back on my side. I also use empowering if they make a major, not a minor point, but if they make a major point for me, I'm going to go ahead and empower them that, wow, that's an awesome point you made. Because I was going to make it in a few minutes, so I want to empower them that the fact that they helped me do it sooner. And then you can salt it in wherever else you want, but you always have to do it early on. You always do it when the meetings get a little rough around the edges, and you always do it when they make a major point for you, and then any place else you want. So that's one thing I could be looking for. I could also be looking for making statements versus asking questions, or asking closed-ended questions where I hear a client say, yes, holy cow, that's wrong. I need to work on asking open-ended questions. Over-talking them, which means they're talking and you talk right over the top of them, louder and faster. Louder and faster. Okay, if I do that, here's how you would do a 15-minute drill. I'm going to listen to myself over-talk them for 10, 15 seconds, then I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to be silent for 5 seconds. I'm going to reverse the tape, listen to myself over-talk them, stop, be silent for 5 seconds. And 5 seconds is a long time. Think about this, guys. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. That's a long time. It's getting you used to shutting up. So like Jeff said earlier, to listening. And how many times am I going to do that for 15 minutes? Over and over, however many times it takes. But I'm going to keep doing that for 15 minutes. So I've probably done it, 45, 50 times? Guys, that will cure you of over-talking. Now, not laughing or acknowledging when they say something that's funny. Or if they answer a question wrong or get confused, not falling on the sword. If they answer wrong, getting them, correcting them. So these are the things you should be working on. And should I work only on one thing, or should every single day should I just choose one of these other things to work on? You think I should just do the same one over and over and over, or choose a new one every day? Now, what I'm going to do is one day I'm going to work on being better at gotching them, whether it's empowering or parroting back. The next day I'm going to try to find out a place where I ask the closed-ended question, the open-ended question. The next day I'm going to try to see if I can find a place where I've over-talked them. The next one I'm going to find where I've corrected them, where they got confused and didn't fall on the sword. Okay, so those are the things I'll be looking for, okay? Now, a way to make this 15-minute drill even better, and Jeff talked about it earlier, is tape yourself doing the 15-minute drill and send it to, you can review it yourself, or you can send it to Jeff or myself, and then we can help you tweak that skill you're working on even more. So you've taped yourself, and maybe you put it on the computer, and then you listen to the tape on the computer while you're taping yourself doing the 15-minute drill. Because now you're critiquing your critique, making sure that what you're practicing is a bad golf stroke or the best stroke you can possibly be hitting. The best stroke you can possibly be hitting. So you don't need to do this, but that's a way to make your 15-minute drill even better. Certainly would make sense to every couple of weeks to send Jeff or myself a 15-minute drill that you've taped, so we can take that skill you've been working on and tweak it and make it even better. Does that make sense? So Richard Branson, university education that I never had. Every day I'm learning something new. The great thing about the 15-minute drill, guys, have you ever had a day when you leave and you're just tuckered out, but you think nothing even happened, nothing worthwhile happened today? Have you ever had one of those days? It's just like spinning your wheels. You're on the gerbil cage, and nothing happened that day. Well, that should never ever happen again, because you should. If you do the 15-minute drill every day, at least every day, what's happened? Every day you can say at least what happened. I improved. I got better. So every day you should start your day with the 15-minute drill. It starts your day in a positive manner. It means that at least that day, regardless of whatever else happens, you got better at your skills. And guys, even if you lost a sale that day, if you got better that day, That's a good thing, because if you're getting better every single day, how many sales are you going to lose a year from now or 6 months from now? If you're getting better every single day, what's happening to the amount of sales you're ever going to lose going forward? They go down. So you should, and if you think about this, what would happen if right now you come in and you do your normal stuff? So let's say that you come in the first 15 minutes now, you don't get yourself coffee, you don't read your emails, you don't listen for voicemails, you don't have a poop shoot with your, a gab session with your assistant about TV last night. What if you'd skipped all those, didn't read the Wall Street Journal for the first 15 minutes? If you did not do those things for the first 15 minutes, how would that affect your practice? If you didn't look at your emails, didn't read the paper, didn't do any of those things, so how would that affect your practice? It wouldn't. It would not affect your practice. So take that first 15 minutes and do your 15-minute drill. Because what's more important, the Wall Street Journal, your emails, your voicemails, what's more important, the 15-minute drill or any of those things? Yeah, the 15-minute drill. Now, guys, should you be working on the 21-point checklist during your 15-minute drill? Does that have anything to do with the 21-point checklist? No, it's about GOTS. It's about getting better at being a communicator. The 21-point checklist is, and everybody got that right. So the 21-point checklist, those scripts take hours to learn, not 15 minutes. But the great thing is, when you start doing these 15-minute drills, is it going to be encapsulated in just when you do meetings with clients, or does that? I want to see how many people have actually used some of this stuff successfully, the GOTS stuff successfully in real life with the guy that's annoying on the phone that you're trying to get something done, or your wife, or your teenage son or daughter. Give me some. So I've got 3 people, 4 people, 7 people. Well, that means we got a lot of other people that better start what? Doing their 15-minute drills, because this is stuff that works everywhere. It makes you a more likable person. And apparently, based on what Jeff said, I need a lot of work there. It's a good thing I work on my 15-minute drills every day, because this is what makes you likable, the GOT skills. So, I've talked to people and say, how are you doing on your 15-minute drills? And say, I was doing pretty good till last week, and then I had to travel to see a lot of my clients. And what do I say when they tell me that? I'm a little confused. Because I'm confused. So you're traveling at what? You're traveling 24 hours a day? Well, no, I mean, I had to get in my car and drive to the... Yeah, but when did you get in your car? Well, like 8 o'clock. Uh-huh. So what could you have done before? What could he have done before 8 o'clock when he got in his car, guys? What could he have done? Yeah, the MIFD, right, Wade? Right, Nicholas, the MIFD. Why didn't you? So is it really? Can you give me any excuse if during a work day, maybe on the weekends or whatever, on vacation, sure, but during a work day, what excuse would work for not doing the MIFD? None that I would know of. None that I know of. So guys, just do it every single day. Make sense? So here's Dwayne. Success isn't overnight. It's every day you get a little bit better than the day before. It all adds up. Isn't that what we're doing with the 15-minute drill? Can you do the 15-minute drill in your car? That's the other thing I hear from guys. Yeah, I do it in my car. Can you do the 15-minute drill in your car? No. This is real practice, deliberate practice. You have your door shut, your email off, your phone off, and you're doing what? This. You're focused. Exactly right. Now, there is one thing you can do in your car. Well, before we do that, though, I want to do the $1 million test. Here's one way to know where you're at with the 21-point checklist. And I would use this as an excuse or not excuse, as a worthwhile task during your 15-minute drill. And that is to do the $1 million test. How many questions did I say minimum? The guys that have all the guys that have made over $1 million a year with my system, and there's been lots of them. So how many of those guys? Yeah, 2 per minute. So what I would recommend is you do this every once in a while, just to test yourself. Listen to your tape for 5 minutes. And what should you be looking for? Counting. You take a little tally box, and you're going to count how many what? Questions? What kind of questions, Wade? Everybody's getting open-ended questions. We're going to count. how many open-ended questions, so I have a timer here, stopwatch, how many open-ended questions did I ask in that 5 minutes? And if it's less than 10, guess what? Where am I with my skills? Yeah, more work to do, more work to do. That's a great, I call that the $1 million test. If you're asking, if you just take 5 minutes here, you hit 10 or more open-ended questions, and you skim through to another part of the tape, boom, you do it again. I guarantee you, you are basically closing anybody you want to close if you're doing that. Okay. Oh, and I didn't talk about one more thing. I don't know how that slide got missed out. There is one thing you can do in your car. There is one thing you can do in your car, and it's this. When we have an objection, and I think we talked about it earlier, when we have an objection, one of the things we do is we agree with them wholeheartedly, absolutely, and then we do what? We tell them why they're right. So the only skill I can work on in my car is I can listen to public radio if I'm a conservative, and I can listen to talk radio if I'm a liberal. I can listen to sports radio if I'm neither, and I look for something that they say that I don't like, and then what am I going to do for 5 minutes? Explain why that thing is true. So that's one thing I can work on in my car, and the only thing I can work on is argue a point that I totally disagree with. Argue for a point that I do not agree with. That's a good use of your car time. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there will help you a lot. But when it comes to this 15-minute drill, you gotta do it in your car. You gotta be focused, or not in your car. You gotta do it in your office, focused with no other distractions. Make sense? So I don't quiz you on, I don't care if you do the 15-minute drill or not, but I'm telling you, if you don't do the 15-minute drill, you're never going to make $1 million a year. You got to do, and doing it once a week, is that enough, guys? It's got to be every single day, because we're fighting against human nature. We're fighting against our desire to be heard versus to listen. And it makes you a fantastic conversationalist and a likable person. So anything to add to that, Jeff?
Well, I would just say it's important to do it daily. We're professionals in if it's a professional golfer, how often does he work on his golf game? Every day. If he's a professional football player, how often does he work on his football? Every day. If he's a professional baseball player, how often does he work on baseball? Every day. If we're professional financial advisors, how often should we be working on our communication skills? Every day.
Yeah, and that's perfectly said. And the funny thing is that we hear there's guys that have been in the business for 20 years, and how much experience do they have, guys? In the business for 20 years, how much experience do they have? 1 year, over and over and over. This is a way to make sure that what? If you have 20 years of experience, you're going to have 20 years of experience. Guys, I have 20. Why? Some of you say, well, I can't do what you do. Of course you can't, because I've been doing it for how many years? So I actually have 20 years of experience of doing this. Of course you can't be as good as me until you've done it for 20 years. Make sense? So super. You guys are off to a fantastic start this year, so we are happy as can be. Please do this. This is the only way you're going to make $1 million a year. And even if that's not your goal, it's the only way you're going to get to whatever goal you have is to do this 15-minute drill every day. And please send Jeff and myself tapes of those occasions. We'd love to do those. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.